Welcome to Montego Bay, Jamaica, where the sun is hot, the rum is strong, and the ghosts, oh, they like to hang around forever. Perched high above the Caribbean sits the Rose Hall Great House, one of the most haunted mansions in the world. And at the heart of its legend is Annie Palmer, the infamous White Witch of Rose Hall. But here's the mystery we're diving into today. Did Annie's first husband really die, leaving her in debt, struggling to run a massive sugarcane plantation? And the question that keeps history buffs arguing, did Annie ever remarry? Or did she just make sure no husband lasted long enough to count? Stick around, because this story has it all: wealth, witchcraft, and murder. Rose Hall sits high on a hill overlooking the Caribbean Sea. Back in the 1700s, this wasn't just prime real estate. It was a working sugar plantation. Imagine 6,000 acres of sugarcane waving in the breeze, and about 250 enslaved Africans forced to cut, haul, and process it. Not exactly a tropical paradise for them. And in the middle of it all stood this Georgian-style mansion, completed in 1770. Big, bold, and built for drama, kind of like Annie Palmer herself. So how did Annie get here? In Haiti, Annie was said to have learned witchcraft from her nanny after her parents died. She later moved to Jamaica and married John Palmer, the wealthy owner of Rose Hall. And just like that, she went from single and spooky to a rich plantation owner's wife. Now let's pause for a reality check. Annie didn't just live in a mansion, she owned enslaved people. Around 250 men, women, and children were the backbone of the plantation economy and were forced to labor on her estate. And Annie? She ruled with a cruel and violent hand. Whippings, torture, and, if the legends are true, rituals that would make even horror writers say, okay, that's a bit much. Now, here's the kicker. Women back then had very few legal rights. They couldn't vote, and in most cases, they couldn't even own property independently. So when her first husband died, Annie had to find a husband or lose the mansion. She wasn't just scary, she was scary with a bank account. All right, let's talk about Annie's love life. Her love story grows spookier when it comes to Annie's supposed husbands. Husband number one, John Palmer. He brought Annie to Rose Hall. Their marriage? Short. Very short. Rumor has it Annie poisoned him. Like, till death do us part, happened quicker than expected. Husband number two, a wealthy planter. He didn't last long either. Some say she stabbed him, others say she practiced black magic. Either way, he had terrible luck with wedding vows. Husband number three, the boldest of the bunch, but not the smartest. Legend claims Annie strangled him in his sleep. Romantic, huh? So, 3 husbands in, and let's just say Annie's love choices are far from perfect. She was trying to stay alive and run a plantation using the only skill she was taught, witchcraft. But did Annie actually remarry after John Palmer? History is divided. Some historians suggest she never legally remarried. Folklore, however, insists she burned through husbands faster than a candle in a storm. But here's where the love story gets really juicy. Annie's reign of terror didn't last forever. Legend says she fell for an enslaved man named Taku, who was secretly a practitioner of voodoo. When Annie pushed things too far, tormenting both enslaved workers and her lovers, Taku fought back. One night, in her very own bedroom, Annie met her end. Some say she was strangled with her own scarf. Others claim Taku performed a ritual that locked her soul inside the great house forever. And here's the spooky part. Locals buried her in a grave on the property, but according to legend, the ritual wasn't completed correctly, which means Annie's spirit still roams Rose Hall. Visitors swear they've seen her in the windows, heard footsteps on the stairs, and even felt cold hands brush against their shoulders. So if you ever take the night tour at Rose Hall, don't wander off alone. Annie might just be looking for husband number 4. So, what do you think? Was Annie Palmer just an unlucky widow whose husband left her drowning in plantation debt? Or was she the terrifying mistress who made sure no husband survived her bed? Either way, one thing's certain, her spirit never left Rose Hall. So there you have it, the story of Rose Hall and the infamous White Witch, Annie Palmer. A tale of wealth, cruelty, and a whole lot of marital turnover. Would you dare take the night tour to listen for footsteps on the stairs? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this chilling dive into Jamaica's most famous love story, hit like, subscribe, and ring that ghostly bell. Until next time, sweet dreams. If you can sleep at all.